Darius. Hey James, he says, PIMCO looking good in Allianz bonus feature. What signs you look for to make you lock it in or let it keep growing? Good question. And yeah, PIMCO is doing great this year. So in our Allianz policies, there's two actively managed volatility indexes that I have in my policies and I recommend that folks use. They're uncapped and they have a really good participation rate. And currently on one of my policies, my PIMCO for this year alone, and I'm only 6 months into my policy. No, yeah, I'm about 6 months into it. I've got another 6 months to go. And I'm currently sitting at like an 11 and a quarter gain on it. Now that's after my bonus and my participation rate. So really, really solid. I'm not looking at locking that in because the market's still doing well. I'm not too concerned about the market. I may lock it in if I start to see something turn around, but these are actively managed volatility indexes. So they're meant to avoid going down in a major crash. And in the meantime, they're going to just keep moving money from stocks or S&P 500 type funds and bonds. So as things get volatile in the stock market, they're going to move to bonds. And as things settle down, they'll move back to the stocks. And they seem to be working pretty good. Now, Bloomberg has a lot to do to catch up. Bloomberg's been struggling. It's been at a negative for me for almost the whole time. Almost the whole time. Now, historically, that Bloomberg one, though, outperforms PIMCO. But there's a few years in there where PIMCO really outperforms the Bloomberg. And that's why I split it up between those two. And this year happens to be one of those years where it's a good thing to have it split up. That PIMCO is really high. I think I'm at just under 1% on the Bloomberg right now. But I've got 6 more months to go on mine. So you got to take a look at yours. Yours may have just started. In fact, on yours, Darius, yeah, you haven't been in it for 6 months yet. You still got a long ways to go. These things are uncapped. So there's a chance, if we go back to 2017, that Bloomberg, it actually returned 14%. That's before the participation in the bonuses. After the participation in bonuses, depending on which one you're using, but you could have gotten a credit of over 23% if you didn't lock it in and you just let it keep going. Now, it's possible maybe it was higher at some point and maybe you could have locked it in higher. I don't know. But that's what I'm looking for. Like, I'm pretty happy at 11%, but it seems like there's not a whole lot to worry about. The Fed's still printing money, and the market overall is still doing pretty good. S&P is hitting record highs. The Dow's hitting record highs. So I'm not looking at locking anything in just yet for my policies. I wouldn't really recommend anybody else be doing it either, unless you're absolutely happy with where it's at and you just don't want to risk it going down. You can certainly make that choice, and that's okay. So the signs that I look for, if I'm going to think about locking it in, is how am I feeling about the overall market? How's everybody else feeling? A month or so ago, it seemed like there was a lot of hysteria around how high everything has grown. And you were really starting to feel like people were getting ready to panic because everything was so high. Everything had been going up, up, up. I don't get that feeling at all now. Even though we just hit record highs, I don't get that feeling at all. You know, a lot of things that were very high growth took a big hit. They're no longer up at those high highs. It's other things that are coming up and keeping the market up in general. So I feel a lot better with where it's at. But that's the signs I'm going to look for. Signs of a reoccurring pandemic. We definitely got to watch that, because in February of 2020, you would have been good to lock in rather than wait for the market to drop. So we're always trying to keep an eye on potential market crashes. But we're not just looking at any particular sector. We're not just looking at tech or, growth stocks. You got to take everything into consideration, because these actively managed volatility indexes are going to move around. If you're not in the actively managed volatility indexes, if you're just in an S&P index, pay attention to the S&P. It's always hard to try and time the market, but the main thing is we avoid the major crashes, right? Rather we be wrong a little bit when we stop the winnings a little bit short, and be right when we avoid the major crashes. I think that would probably be okay. Although we're still protected from the downside in our indexes, in our policy, because you don't go below zero, right? By locking it, our main goal for locking it is to avoid a 0 year. So if there's some reason you think a 0 year is possible by your anniversary date, you want to pay attention and maybe lock it in at some point.
Hope you found value in today's video. If you'd like to find out more about IUL and whole life, check out these videos right over here, and we'll see you next time.
Now go maximize your cash flow.